This will be a Hartley's Huddle extra with baseball coach Ritchie Price. Ritchie, let's talk about the upcoming season. Obviously, it's about 3 weeks away. You returned quite a bit from last year's team, which finished second in the Summit League tournament. Preseason pick number 3, just behind Centenary this year. Talk a little bit about the upcoming prospects this season.
Well, going into this year, we have a lot more experience coming back, and I think a lot of guys have a lot more confidence with how strong we finished. And looking at the season and what we got to replace off last year's team, obviously we got to fill the catcher's position. Losing Tony Martin, we feel like we got some guys that can do that with Joel Blake, Zach Briggs, and Nick Andrews, a new freshman, and then first base and second base as well. We got guys there as well. It's kind of a rotation thing right now. We'll see who emerges through the first half of the season. And then on the pitching side of things, the big thing is going to be who can step up and fill Caleb Thielbar's shoes. He dominated the conference last year. Once we got to conference play, he was one of the premier pitchers. Got drafted by the Milwaukee Brewers and is doing well in the minors. So I feel like as a staff, we're deeper this year, but we need that one guy to kind of emerge as the frontline guy.
Obviously, last year you guys kind of struggled early, but as custom with the northern teams, they kind of take a little while to come on. This year, you don't really want to afford that luxury, but it'd be nice to get off to that good start where you can maybe compete early on with Centenary for a possible NCAA bid.
Yeah, I mean, trust me, it'd be a lot nicer to get off to a better start, absolutely. I feel like we're further along this year. Practices have been going a lot better, and like we talked about with the guys we got coming back off last year, I feel like we should get off to a better start this year and hopefully set ourselves up for a late season run that can put us in that type of position.
Looking at the schedule, you got some very good competitions, some teams that made at-large bids last year, I believe. Dallas Baptist, I believe, is on the schedule. Just some teams that really, you guys have a chance to measure up with how you are as a program compared to where they are.
Yeah, we play 8 games against teams that are ranked in the top 40 non-conference. And that'll be a good experience for our players and a good test for our guys to go against some top competition with Dallas Baptist, Minnesota, and then we also play Nebraska as well in there. So, I mean, we go up against some really good teams, and we got a good balance to this year's schedule, I think, where we got some teams that we got a chance to take care of, and then we got some other teams that we're going to have to go in and play well to win. It'll be fun. It'll be a lot of fun.
It's hard to think of it looking at the schedule with the first home games in April. Looking outside, it's hard to think that that's a possibility, but still, the home slate isn't bad either. You open up with, I believe, Minnesota, and you also have Creighton at home this year.
Yeah, playing Minnesota at home, it'll be a good experience for the community to come watch a really high-end team play here in Brookings. And then also, if you look at the way the conference is set up, we got Centenary and Oral Roberts coming to play us towards the end of the year. So if we do what we need to do early on in conference on the road, we can set it up where we can have the conference title on the line here in Brookings.
Was it last year, I believe, that you guys were at home with Oral Roberts too, or was it 2 years ago?
It was 2 years ago.
Obviously, that was an experience for the fans here, just seeing that top-notch program. But it's nice for this program to get 2 teams that are predicted to be in the top 2 in the Summit League coaches polls at home. How do you guys match up with Oral Roberts and Centenary's program? Obviously, they got some head starts with like the Oral Roberts just got an indoor facility. Centenary's got nice weather. Just how you guys match up with them?
Well, I think Centenary, if you look at them, they return a very good pitching staff. They have 3 very good pitchers that have all had success the last couple of years, and they're upperclassmen now. So they win with pitching and defense, and that's a team that we have to match and pitch for pitch, kind of like we did last year in the conference tournament. Caleb Thielbar went to 10 innings against them, and we won in extra innings. And then Oral Roberts, they're just solid all the way around, and you got to play a good game, and it's all about timely hitting when you play those guys. You got to play defense, and then somebody's got to clutch up with the bat because they got good pitching, and they're not going to make mistakes. You got to beat them; they won't beat themselves.
I guess let's look at the lineup and the possible position players. You want to start with the catcher and maybe work your way out to the outfield from there?
Sure. Zach Briggs last year was one of our DHs, hit over 300, had 4 or 5 home runs, and could really catch and throw. And he's kind of emerged as the top catcher defensively, and he's a good opportunity. And then we have Joel Blake, who we're not sure where he'll play defensively, but he'll definitely probably be batting third in our lineup. He set the single-season record for hits last year, tied it with Tony Martin, and had 31 extra base hits. And then Nick Andrews, the freshman, who's very talented as well, that we'll see some time, and as the season goes on, could be a guy that gets into the mix, whether it's DH or catcher. And then you go to first base, Joel Blake could be playing there. 2 other candidates are Eric DeYoung, the junior out of Sioux Falls, who has a lot of power. He's had a very good winter in the cages, and we're kind of waiting for him to take that final step and do it at game speed. But very good defensive player with a lot of power. And then Jeff Fish, sophomore out of Millbank, South Dakota, is a super athlete. And he might play right field, he might play some first base or DH, but he's a guy athletically we got to get on the field because he's as talented as anybody on our team. It's just a matter of him getting caught up to the Division I speed as well. And then going to second base, we have two candidates there. Senior Scott Hood, who played about 30 games last year, very smart player, very solid all the way around, doesn't make any mistakes. And then we have a freshman named Andrew Melton, who's an all-state player out of Colorado. Very athletic, runs well, plays good defense, little undersized, but a very good player who we think has a chance to be a very good player here. And then third base, obviously, Jesse Sawyer returns, one of the top players in our conference, set the school record for home runs last year. We also have a junior college transfer named Zach Higgins, who can provide some depth over there. And then shortstop Eric Kane, who started 50 games as a freshman last year and hit over 300, and has made a lot of progress. He's a lot quicker this year. He's playing with a leg injury last year that not a lot of people knew about, and he's moving a lot better. So we think he's going to have a breakout season and become an impact guy. And then looking at the outfield, you go to the left field with Bo Panowski's a sophomore out of Little Falls, Minnesota. Had about 20 starts last year, hit right around 250, and he was playing with a leg injury as well, and he's running a lot better. And he's a littler guy who can really run. Now that he's healthy, he can bring some speed to our lineup. Another kid, a junior college transfer, Zach Rhodes, comes to us from the same JC as Blake and Sawyer up in Canada. And his stats were better up in Canada than Blake's and Sawyer's. So we feel like he can come in and hopefully contribute, whether it's left field or DH, but another left-handed stick for us in the lineup. Center field, Billy Stitz returns for his third year, 2-year starters, junior out of Burnsville, and big-time athlete, 6'6", 60 runner. Hopefully, his freshman year, he had a phenomenal year. Last year, he struggled just a little bit, but he still hit over 300, and that says the type of talent that he has, that he struggled yet. He still is a 300 hitter. So hopefully he can get back to where he was his freshman year, probably bat leadoff for us. And then right field, John Lee returns for his senior year. Hit over 300 last year, batted second for us in the lineup, and really smart, mature player, great defender. I don't think he gets enough credit for how well he plays defense. And then, like I said, Jeff Fish could be out there. And then another outfielder, Daniel Telford, redshirted for us last year, and he's a left-handed hitter that's a good hitter that could provide depth and also be kind of that left-handed pinch-hitting role off the bench.
I guess looking at the pitching staff, obviously the loss of Theobar will really hurt, but you bring in some freshman or sophomore pitchers that had some good innings last year as freshmen, and I guess you can say they're really accustomed to the college game by now, I'm guessing.
Yeah, we got some players that had a lot of experience, not too many new guys on the mound. Right now there's kind of 5 guys that are all possible starters for us. It's kind of up in the air. The 5 guys that we're looking at, Lane Thompson started every weekend last year as a freshman. Very talented player out of Yankton, South Dakota. He's now a sophomore, won his last 4 starts last year in a row. So he should be somewhere in the mix for sure. And then a couple other guys, Mike Robinson is finally healthy. He's a senior left-handed pitcher out of Rapid City who had a really good freshman year and then battled some arm injuries his sophomore year, and then last year had a foot problem. But he's been very good this year now that he's healthy. So hopefully he can have a great senior year. Blake Treenan is a junior who is probably the most talented pitcher on our staff. 6'4" righty, throws between 92 and 95 miles an hour. And hopefully he can put it all together. He had to sit out last year being a transfer. But he's a guy that could be the big piece to our puzzle. And if he emerges and plays up to his abilities, he could be a dominant player within our conference. We also have a freshman lefty named Shane Kramer, who's out of Canada that is very good. Had a great fall, and whether he's our third or fourth starter or a left-handed matchup guy out of the bullpen, but he'll play a pivotal role within our rotation. And then Sam Pajzinski's kind of taken over as being, as of right now, probably the best pitcher on our staff. So really taking that next step as a pitcher and him being a senior hard worker. We're hoping he can be the guy kind of like Caleb was last year, pitching those key moments in the game, in the big games throughout the year.
I guess let's go to the bullpen. Obviously, there were some times last year where they really struggled for you, and that kind of cost you late in the season. Just looking at the Summit League Championship with Oral Roberts, I guess things kind of fell apart there. But what you got coming out of the bullpen? Obviously, you lose Kirby Morshing, who was a pretty good guy for you, and he battled through injury last year.
Yeah, Kirby was great for us last year. He was a very, very good pitcher, but the reality is he got hurt before we even started conference. So, I mean, we made that whole run without him. So, I mean, replacing him won't be quite as difficult just because we've done it now without him. Trevor Vermillion, junior out of Mitchell, South Dakota, kind of emerged as a closer once Kirby went down last year. Summer Rain righty, who's very effective against right-handed hitters. I think he was Summit League Pitcher of the Week one weekend last year. So he'll be a guy who'll play a key role. A couple of those starters I mentioned could end up in the bullpen. And then there's other guys as well. new freshman out of Nebraska who's an all-state pitcher, Stephen Boyer. He's made a lot of progress. We're excited about the direction he's headed. Austin Bussey won a game against North Dakota last year. Blaine Alberta returns. We have a couple of new pitchers. Alex Oberle out of a junior college transfer. I'm sure I'm forgetting somebody. There's like 12 pitchers. So, but you know, the bullpen, we feel like we have a lot more depth this year within our rotation. So I think a lot of those guys will, as the season goes on, hopefully continue to get better. And by the time we get to conference, we can feel comfortable handing the ball over to them.
All right, thank you, Coach. That was Coach Ritchie Price of the STSU baseball team with the Hartley's Huddle Extra.